Hi, it's Leanne, and today we're making one single giant monster cookie. This cookie is naturally gluten-free because we're only going to use oats and peanut butter. There is no flour involved. It's chewy, it's chocolatey, and it's full of peanut butter goodness. We've been making this cookie at our house for over 30 years. Join me in the kitchen as we make small batch recipes with big taste. So you may wonder, why is this called a monster cookie? Well, it's because it's a monster of a cookie. It actually combines three of your favorite cookies all in one: chocolate chip, peanut butter, and oatmeal. Now, I know in Texas that sometimes they call this a cowboy cookie. And I don't know, maybe they're afraid of monsters. But if you're from Texas, leave me a comment and let me know what you call it. So we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of softened butter. We want to use softened butter because it's going to make it a lot easier to combine all our ingredients together. So just use the back of your spoon and kind of smash it a little bit. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I am using a creamy peanut butter, but you could totally use a chunky peanut butter too if you prefer. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Then we're going to mix that all together. Next, we'll add in some vanilla, half a teaspoon of vanilla, although I never measure, I just pour it in. And then 2 tablespoons of a beaten egg. You don't want to use a whole egg because then your cookie will taste too eggy, so I just beat up an egg and measure out 2 tablespoons. If you want to use the remaining beaten egg for one of those giant cookie recipes I have here on YouTube, you can click to it up above. All right, we're going to mix that all together. For our dry ingredients, we're going to add in first our salt. Now I'm just going to add in a pinch of salt, but if you're using unsalted butter, go ahead and add in 2 pinches of salt. We're going to add in 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. And then our oats. Now I am using old-fashioned oats. If all you have is quick oats, you can use those. You just won't get as chewy as a cookie. And the other great thing about this recipe is if you are using gluten-free oats, this recipe is gluten-free because there is no flour in these cookies. So 1/2 a cup plus a tablespoon of oats. And mix that all together. Now, I first started making these cookies when my children were little, and I was the head of the children's organization at church, and every year the kids put on a program for their parents, and I would always make these cookies as their reward for after the program was over. Now, the best part of these cookies, we are going to add in a tablespoon of M&Ms. Now, I usually hold out about 3 or 4 that I can add to the top of the cookie just to make it look a little prettier, and a tablespoon of semi-sweet, you could use milk chocolate or dark chocolate, chocolate chips. And then just stir it until it's incorporated. Now, it's important to know that this is going to be a pretty wet dough, okay? So don't be worried if it just seems really wet. Now, if you are a raisin fan, you could go ahead and add in a tablespoon of raisins too, but I'm of the opinion of why ruin a good cookie. So we're going to take our baking sheet, and I have lined it with parchment paper. We are going to put our dough right onto the parchment paper, and like I said, remember, it's going to be a little damp. I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're just going to go ahead and form our cookie into a round disc, probably about 3.5 inches across. This cookie is going to spread as it bakes. Now, those M&Ms that we reserved, if you didn't eat them all, go ahead and just take them and press them into the top of the cookie. It's just going to make it look a little prettier. We are ready to pop this into the oven. We are going to bake it for 12 to 15 minutes. You want it to get nice and golden brown around the edges and set in the middle because it is a soft cookie. Okay, so one thing I like to do after I pull it out of the oven is if it's a little misshapen, I just take a spatula or something with a flat edge and kind of push the edges in to make the cookie a little bit more round. All right, our cookie is out of the oven. Now, we need to remember this is a soft cookie, so let it cool completely first or else it may have a tendency to fall apart on you. You can also take this recipe and make 2 medium-sized cookies or 4 smaller cookies if you prefer. Now, I've got lots of other single giant cookie recipes here on YouTube, so make sure you check those out and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.